I open the diner every day before 6 in the morning. It's still dark when I switch on the sign lights. They flicker twice before they glow, like the building needs to wake up with me. I work alone most of the time. Sometimes my friend Dina stops by before heading to the school where she teaches, just to grab a sandwich and ask if I slept well. I always say yes, even when I haven't slept at all. The diner used to belong to my husband. Our first baby, he would joke. We built everything together. The secondhand counter, the metal stools, the menu taped to the wall with masking tape. He cooked, and I handled the register and the customers. Now I do everything. He died suddenly. Heart attack. For the first few months, I thought about selling the place. The neighbors said it was better to move on. I'd walk in here and see his apron hanging on the same hook, his recipe scribbled on a napkin inside the cash drawer. I couldn't leave, so I stayed. I learned how to calculate inventory, deal with late bills, and handle impatient customers. In the evenings, when the diner goes quiet, I get confused. I imagine him sitting on one of the stools, scrolling through his phone, laughing at some stupid video. We used to talk about traveling, closing the place for a week and going to Nashville or New Orleans. We never went. The neighborhood regulars still talk about him. They say nobody made pancakes like he did. I try to recreate the recipe, but I never get it right. After all these years, the business survives. Not rich, but alive. Enough to pay the bills and keep going. And so I stay. As for my family, I don't know when my sister became their son and I became the shadow. Maybe it was always that way. Our parents never said it out loud, but every gesture made it clear. She messed up and got comfort. I succeeded and got silence. Once in high school, she was caught cheating on a test, and they asked me to help her study for the retake. I spent hours explaining. She gave up halfway through, failed again, and my parents told me it was because I hadn't taught her right, that I should have been more patient with her way. That phrase, her way, haunts me to this day. It's the shield they always used to cover her irresponsibility. After I got married, distance helped. Cleveland is far enough to avoid Sunday dinners and sideways comments. But when my husband died, the phone started ringing again. "You need family," my mother said in that false, consoling voice. I knew what she really meant. "You've become our responsibility again." My sister, who spent her whole life jumping from course to course and boyfriend to boyfriend, now calls herself an academic. She's doing a PhD nobody really understands and keeps posting inspirational quotes about female empowerment, while calling my work servant stuff. The last time we saw each other, she looked at my apron and asked if it was a uniform or a costume. I laughed on the outside, but inside it felt like she'd punched me. My father never gets involved. He just sits there pretending not to hear. I wasn't playing the role they expected. The last time I went to their house, my mother was in the living room watching TV. She asked if I was still wasting time in that greasy place, and if I didn't think about doing something cleaner. I told her cleaning grease was easier than dealing with certain people. She pretended not to understand. My sister showed up soon after, with a smile that looked rehearsed. Said she was planning a big event and needed to talk to me about a generous idea. I knew what that meant, a favor. She never shows up without a reason. Meanwhile, my niece, her daughter, was posting photos of fancy brunches in Columbus and quotes about working with purpose. She's never worked a day in her life, but they treat her like the family's golden promise. And me, the one who wakes up before sunrise to flip pancakes and fry bacon, I'm the bitter one. Those little jabs thrown over the years piled up. The other day, while I was wiping the diner counter, the phone rang again. It was her, and that's when the story really started to change. Her voice always has that tone, the kind that sounds like she's about to give orders, but hides it behind sweetness. "Hey sis, I need to talk to you real quick. It's something good, I promise." She started with small talk. Said her daughter, my niece, was getting married in the fall, and that it was the family event we've all been waiting for. She talked about flowers, dresses, guest lists, all in a tone so cheerful I could practically hear her smile through the phone. And then came the main point, money. We want to make it beautiful, you know, but the groom's parents can't afford much, and Chris lost his job a few months ago. We're a bit tight too with the university, the PhD, all that. Could you help a little with the ceremony costs? I'm against marriage, but if she wants to get married, at least she should have a decent party. I could have said no, but I grew up hearing that good families help each other. So I said yes. I promised to help with the hall rental and part of the food. She made that happy squeal people make when they get a gift. Knew I could count on you. You've always been the strong one in this family. I hung up and stared at the sink full of dishes. For a second, I thought, maybe it's nice to do something beautiful for someone. In the following days, I took more orders, stayed open later, slept less. The smell of frying clung to my hair and clothes as I counted bills at night, separating what was for the family. Meanwhile, the family group chat started buzzing. Menu ideas, flower pictures, jokes about the hardworking aunt who's paying for the champagne. I read everything in silence. On Sunday, my mother called just to say she was proud. Not of me, of my sister, for organizing everything with such grace. And then she added, "It's so nice to see you two so close again, like when you were little girls." I hung up before answering, because there was nothing to say. We weren't close. The diner has its own rhythm, a small circle of regulars. Mr. Hal, who orders pancakes every day and swears they keep getting better. A woman named Kyra, who always eats lunch alone reading a book. And two guys from the tire shop down the street who bet on who can eat more burgers. They treat me with respect. They joke sometimes, but never cross the line. They're my little circle, people who understand the value of waking up early and going home smelling like grease. In the middle of the afternoon, when business slows, I usually sit by the window and reply to family messages. Most are from my sister. Pictures of flowers, champagne glasses, embroidered napkins. With every new idea, she writes, "Could you chip in just a little more, sis? Just to make it perfect?" At first, I still did the math. Then I stopped. It became automatic. Say yes, send money. One day, my niece, the bride, posted a photo from a tasting at a fancy restaurant. She tagged everyone and wrote, "Nothing like a planning lunch. Family unity is everything." The caption twisted my stomach. I looked at my greasy hands and thought about how many hours over a hot griddle paid for that white wine she was smiling with. I didn't reply. But later that day, my sister texted, "Did you see the photos? Everything looks beautiful. Your help is making all the difference. Can't wait to see you there." Meanwhile, the work kept piling up. Customers ordering cakes, takeout requests. I barely had time to breathe, but my bank balance was finally growing. Enough to cover what I'd promised and a little more. One day, my niece showed up at the diner. No warning, just walked in, phone in hand, with a curious look. "Wow, Auntie, this is where you spend all day?" she asked, inspecting the place. "Yep, right here." She glanced around, saw the ceiling stains, and gave a small, polite smile. "Brave of you." I couldn't do it. Brave. The word came out coated in pity. I wanted to say something sharp, but I only told her that one day she'd learn the value of work and the independence that comes with it. Later in the family chat, my sister wrote, "Olivia went to visit her aunt, said the place is very authentic. Ha 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 ha." And a handful of laughing emojis followed. I read those messages standing in the kitchen. For a moment, I thought about turning my phone off forever, but I knew I still hadn't paid everything I'd promised, and I wouldn't know how to back out. Update 1. I drove to Columbus on a Friday afternoon, nearly 3 hours straight. My sister insisted I come, said it would be just a light family dinner to celebrate the rehearsal. She used that sweet tone that always comes before a trap. When I arrived, the house was lit up, full of voices. My mother saw me first. "Well, look who showed up," she said, half surprised, half proud she could show me off. "Our East Side entrepreneur." My sister came right behind her. My niece, in a beige dress and a catalog smile, raised her glass. A toast to the aunt who works fryer magic and makes dreams come true. Lots of laughter. Some fake, some drunk. I sat at the edge of the table and tried to ignore it. They talked about decorations, catering, how many photos they'd post. When I asked about the venue contract, my sister waved it off. "Oh, we still have one payment left, but don't worry. We know you're taking care of that." I just nodded. During dinner, the groom, a polite, quiet guy, tried to chat with me about the diner menu. Said he'd like to try it one day. Before I could answer, my niece cut him off. "Oh, honey, you wouldn't survive the smell of grease." Laughter again. Loud this time. My sister added, "She was born for that kind of place." The laughter continued, but I didn't join in. My face felt hot. I stood up slowly. Just said I had to go, that I opened early in the morning. My mother tried to stop me. "Calm down, it was just a joke. You two have always been like this." But no, those jokes weren't jokes. I walked out without looking back. In the car, I opened my banking app and looked at the scheduled payments. Deleted them all, one by one. Started the engine and thought, it's over. I'm not paying for anything else. Not the hall, not the catering, not the dream. The phone started ringing before sunrise. First my mother, then my sister. And when I stopped answering, the messages came. One after another, all with the same tone of demand, not request. "Sis, the venue owner needs the final payment. You can't do this now. You'll ruin everything. Think of Olivia. It's her big day. You've always been the responsible one. Don't start acting like a child." I opened each one, my chest tightening more with every notification. I set the phone on the diner counter. Slowly, I remembered my husband's voice. Calm, patient, always finding humor even in stupid situations. "When people push you, take a deep breath before you react," he used to say. "If you answer hot, it turns into a fight." I closed my eyes for a moment and tried to picture him on the stool again, that half-raspy laugh of his. But the phone wouldn't stop. I answered. "You've lost your mind," my sister snapped before I could say anything. "I can't believe you'd leave your niece without a wedding." "I didn't leave anyone without anything," I said. "I just stopped being the family's ATM." She started crying, or pretending to, which with her was basically the same. "I've never asked you for anything, and now that I need..." "No, you've always asked for everything, and you always got it." Silence. Then the scream, "You're bitter. That's why no one can stand you." I hung up. That afternoon, the more subtle tactics came. My mother saying she was disappointed. My father sending a short text. "Think it over." Even the groom texted politely. "I know this isn't easy, but Olivia's devastated. Maybe you could reconsider." Reconsider. A pretty word for manipulation. That night, I closed the diner late, scrubbed the counter harder than I needed to. But something inside me had finally shifted. I didn't feel guilty. So I took a deep breath and said, just to myself, no means no. In the following weeks, the phone stopped ringing, but the silence had a different weight. It wasn't peace, it was punishment. No one replied to my good morning messages in the family chat. The wedding photos vanished, replaced with motivational quotes about letting go of negativity and not letting other people's energy contaminate your happiness. My sister posted, my mother liked, my niece commented with hearts. One morning, Dina stopped by the diner for coffee. "You okay?" she asked, and I realized I must have looked awful. "Yeah, just tired." She eyed me over the rim of her mug, skeptical. "You've got to stop carrying the world on your back." That night, I got a short message from my mother. "The wedding's been postponed. Personal issues. Better not to ask." I went straight to my niece's profile. The photos with her fiancé were gone. In their place, quotes about rediscovering yourself and not depending on anyone for happiness. It took me a few minutes to realize. The engagement was over. My first impulse was to type something. "I'm here if you need me." But then I remembered the laughter at that dinner. I stared at the screen, then erased everything. Still, I spent the night thinking about her. The pain of losing someone, the shame of having everything fall apart in front of everyone. Inside, a strange guilt started to grow. Part of me thought the breakup was a punishment they were pinning on me. Another part knew it had nothing to do with me. Even so, I dreamed of her that night. The niece in a white dress, standing outside the diner, looking at me with anger and tears. I woke up drenched in sweat, heart racing. Spent the next day in silence. Update 2. At the end of that week, my sister called again. This time her voice was dry, no tears, no sweetness. She said her daughter was fragile, and that I should show some support, since so much of this started because of you. I went silent for a few seconds, then answered, "I didn't start anything. I just stopped funding the play." She hung up without saying goodbye. She showed up unannounced. I was closing the register when I heard the bell ring. It was my niece. Tired face, dark circles hidden under makeup, a coat too expensive for this neighborhood. Behind her, a man, much older, maybe 50-something, neatly trimmed beard, polite smile. "Auntie, I came to apologize for the awkwardness I caused. And I'm not mad you canceled the payments," she said brightly. "I brought someone for you to meet." He extended his hand. "Nice to meet you, I'm Andrew," he said, glancing around like he was assessing a property. "She talks about you a lot." He didn't answer when I asked what he did for a living. Just said, "My own business," and smiled again. I offered coffee. He declined. I tried small talk, asked how things had been since the breakup, if she thought about going back to college. He answered for her. "She's rethinking her priorities. Smart woman needs someone who sees her worth." I stared at him. He held my gaze, like he was sizing me up. My niece pretended not to notice. She looked at her phone, tapping her foot. After a few minutes, he stood. "Shall we? I've got things to take care of." I wanted to talk a little with my aunt. He placed his hand on her shoulder. Light touch, full of command. "We'll see her another time, won't we?" he said, looking at me. That "won't we" sounded like an order. When they left, I stood there for a while, staring at the street. That night, I couldn't sleep. I remembered myself years ago, obeying a man out of fear of being left. The next day, I texted her, "You okay? It was nice seeing you, but I'm worried." She replied hours later, "I'm great, Auntie. Don't worry." Weeks passed, and photos started showing up online. Trips, restaurants, expensive gifts. But the look in her eyes told a different story. A stiff smile, tense shoulders. Until one Thursday afternoon, she showed up again. Alone. Red eyes, messy hair, trembling voice. "Can I stay at your place for a while?" Before I could answer, she started crying. She told me everything. How he controlled her, told her when she could go out, what to wear, what to post. that once, during an argument, he locked her in the garage. At first, I thought it was temporary, but she stayed 2 weeks sleeping on my couch. The phone rang around 7 that night. Olivia was sitting on the couch when she saw her mother's name on the screen. Her face changed. "Answer it," I said softly. "It'll be worse if you don't." "Hi, Mom." The voice that came through the speaker filled the room. "Hi? Don't hi me, Olivia. What's this about staying at your aunt's house? Have you lost your mind? I just needed some time." "Time? Time for what? To embarrass yourself? Andrew's desperate. A man like that, Olivia. You'll never find another like him." She looked at me for a second, like she was asking for help. I stayed quiet. "Mom, please. Please nothing. You're spitting on the plate that fed you. He wanted to give you a good life, a house, a car, security, and you run off to hide there in that old house, living off charity. Even your uncle died of shame, with that failure of an aunt of yours. That boy you dated before? A loser. No job. And you wanted to marry him? What, live in poverty?" Olivia lowered her head. The tears started falling. "Mom, I don't want to talk about this now." "You will talk. You'll listen. I didn't raise a daughter to humiliate herself like this. You'll call Andrew tomorrow and apologize. He still wants to see you. He's too good for you, and you know it. And that disgusting aunt of yours should be ashamed for encouraging you to stay like this, always meddling where she doesn't belong." I stayed still, saying nothing. Olivia just cried quietly, until her mother, tired of shouting into the void, hung up. The room went silent. The next morning, the diner opened as usual. Andrew walked in like he already knew the place. Olivia, who was helping behind the counter, froze. "Good morning," he said, as if nothing had happened. "Can we go talk?" She stepped back. "Say it here." "Of course not here," he replied, stepping closer. His voice was firm. "I just want to take you home. Your mother's worried. She told me you'd be here. I'm fine here. I'm not going with you." "Doesn't look like it. You're coming with me." He grabbed her wrist. Quick, almost discreet. But enough. Olivia tried to pull away. Let go. In the corner of the diner, a police officer who came in every morning set down his coffee cup. He stood up slowly, adjusting the holster at his belt. "Everything okay here?" he asked. Andrew released her arm, forcing a laugh. "Of course. Just a conversation. Couple stuff." The officer looked at me. "Everything all right, ma'am?" I nodded slowly, but Olivia didn't. She said she didn't want to talk to Andrew. The officer took a step closer. "Sir, you should leave." Andrew spread his arms dramatically. "I'm not doing anything. She's my girlfriend." Olivia's voice trembled. "I'm not your girlfriend. I don't want to go with you." The silence that followed was heavy. Andrew looked around, saw the customers' stares, the tension in the air. "This is ridiculous," he said. "You'll regret this, Olivia." He left. The door slammed. The officer lingered a moment. Before leaving, he leaned over the counter and said quietly, "If you need to file something, go to the 9th precinct." When he left, Olivia was shaking. The next day started with her sitting at my kitchen table, eyes swollen. "We need to go," I said, "before he shows up again." She looked at me, confused. "Go where?" "The police station." She barely spoke on the way there. At the precinct, the same officer from the diner recognized us. "Knew you'd come?" he said. He called over a female officer who listened to everything without interrupting. Olivia told what she remembered. The fights, the control, the messages. I signed the report as a witness. When she got the copy of the restraining order, the paper shook in her hands. "Now he can't come near you," I explained. "Not even contact you." That afternoon, the phone rang again. This time my sister's name appeared on the screen. I answered. "Have you lost your mind?" She started yelling before I could speak. "What's this about a restraining order? Trying to ruin my daughter's life? I'm trying to save it." "Save it? You're always meddling where you shouldn't. She's my daughter, not yours. You don't know anything. You live in that dump thinking you're some kind of hero." I stayed quiet. "Andrew has influential friends, you know. This will cause trouble for everyone." "Then let it," I said. "Worse would be pretending everything's fine." Then, click, she hung up. A few days later, the diner was quiet. A young man walked in. It took me a second to recognize him. "You're Daniel, right?" I asked. "I was Olivia's fiancé." I asked him to sit. He stared at the counter. "I needed to understand what happened," he said. "She broke up with me overnight. Said she found messages that I was cheating. But it wasn't true." "What messages?" I asked. He took a deep breath. "One day her mother asked to borrow my phone to make a call. I didn't think twice. After that, everything fell apart. Olivia found messages sent from my phone. Texts to a number I didn't even know. Stuff that made it sound like I was seeing someone else. The date was great. We need to see each other again. Things like that. And supposedly, the fake date happened the same day I was out looking for work. She found them, Wouldn't hear me out. Said she couldn't marry a cheater. I tried calling, texting, nothing. Her mother blocked my number, told me to leave Olivia alone. I even went to the house, but she wouldn't let me pass the gate. Then I saw on social media she was with that man, Andrew. I knew him by sight, a friend of her mother's. I knew something was wrong. He pulled out his phone, showing me the screen. One day I called the number from those messages. And guess who answered? Him, Andrew. For a moment, everything stopped. So it was her, I said. Your ex-future mother-in-law. She sent the messages from your phone and used Andrew's number to make it look real. He nodded. Found out too late. Olivia came out of the kitchen doorway just then. They saw each other. What are you doing here? She asked. He stood slowly. I'm not here to argue, Olivia. I just wanted you to know. He showed her the phone. I never cheated on you. She looked at me, unsure if she could believe it, until I nodded. Daniel stayed a moment longer, then thanked me and left. Later, I found Olivia sitting on the couch, eyes blank. She did that? She asked. My mother? She did. She started crying. After that afternoon, things began to change slowly. Olivia didn't talk much about what she'd discovered, but she started coming early, helping at the counter, learning the diner's rhythm. She had a calm, focused way about her, and little by little, the customers got used to her presence. One rainy Tuesday, the bell rang. It was Daniel. Now he wore a delivery jacket, helmet in hand. Got your order, he said, a little shy. Olivia froze for a moment, then smiled faintly. Not long after, when I needed someone to help with deliveries, he took the job. And without anyone saying it aloud, the two of them started sharing mornings. She at the counter, he coming and going with the boxes. One day I came in early and found them making batter together, laughing softly at something I couldn't hear. I pretended not to notice. Months later, Olivia told me she'd gone to talk to her mother. She admitted it, she said. Said she did it for my own good, that she didn't want me marrying an unemployed man. She looked at me. But the worst part is, she really believed that. I didn't know what to say. Time passed. Daniel kept doing deliveries. Olivia stayed behind the counter. The diner grew livelier. Sometimes when we closed up, they'd sit outside talking on the curb. I never asked if they were back together officially, but I didn't have to. You could tell. Years later, I helped decorate the little church hall in the neighborhood. Simple flowers, warm light, a few guests. It was their wedding. No luxury, no speeches, just truth. When she walked in, wearing a light dress and a calm smile, I remembered the scared girl who'd arrived with a suitcase and a broken heart. After everything, life found its way back together. The diner's doing well, better than ever. More customers, steady cash flow. Sometimes I think about opening another one across town. My sister and I haven't spoken since. No fight, no grand ending. Just exhaustion that turned into silence. Olivia keeps her distance too. From her mother, from her grandparents. Sometimes she says she misses having a normal family, but then she laughs. A few months ago, I met someone. Nothing extraordinary. A calm man who likes black coffee and unhurried conversation. And for the first time in a long time, I can say I'm happy, truly happy.